Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review on a night where a very special night indeed. It is absolutely bucketing down outside, but we do have a very, very special guest tonight. And what we're doing tonight is focusing much more on, of course, the Newcastle United Women's team. We have midfielder Freya Bailes coming in just a second. Now, just to let you know, if you do have any questions for Freya, fire them into the chat and we'll ask her as many as we possibly can. Obviously, Danielle and Alex do have some questions for her as well, but we want to really put the focus onto the ladies' team today and carry that forward really on the channel as well. So without further ado, we'll bring Freya in. Good evening, Freya.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hi, Freya. I'm all right. I'm
good,
a bit wet.
Good.
Just come inside, but all good.
Yeah, big training today?
I done a replacement session because I was at the Foundation Awards last night.
All right, yeah.
So Becky gave me the night off, so I came in early this morning to do a bit of work, and then I've just had some university stuff.
Yeah. Now, we spoke about this last night on our show. A certain Newcastle United central defender looked like either looked like James Bond or a James Bond villain. We couldn't quite work it out. I mean, what was it like? I mean, obviously the rest of them turned up in dicky bows and black ties, and then Sven walks in looking like the dairy milk guy, or the whatever he is these days. But he was very finely dressed, wasn't he?
He was looking very suave, I have to say. This first time I was sitting that close up, and it was just a really good night, actually. They were all very lovely. Eddie, Jason, the whole team, and it was a great night to celebrate a lot of just really special people. So I was just felt lucky to be there, to be honest.
Yeah. Terry Mack's a very sort of popular figure in Newcastle, obviously. So it was great to see him inducted into the Hall of Fame, along, of course, with John Beresford. I didn't realise it was actually John Beresford until today. More had been made, obviously, about Terry Mack for obvious reasons. I think he's an absolute legend at this club for what he did, in his playing days, and of course with Kevin during the 90s, which I remember very fondly. But you're obviously now a Newcastle United midfielder yourself, Freya. Where did it all get started for you? Because obviously that accent's definitely not from up here. So where did the football come into you, reckoning that that's what you wanted to be?
Yeah. So I'm not a northerner. I've grown up my whole life down south in Kent, just a little bit southeast of London. My sister's 6 years older than me, and I looked up to her like every little sister did. And my dad was coaching her football, so following in the limelight, did the same kind of thing. Played for a lot of academies down south, but my dad was originally from County Durham in Stanley, so I've been a childhood Newcastle fan, and every Christmas or New Year we'd come up and it would always involve a Boxing Day game or New Year's Day down at St James's. So came to Durham Uni 3 years ago now.
Right.
And then that's kind of how I met Becky. And a lot of the girls on the team went to Northumbria. So I've been 3 years of absolutely hating their guts, but now I love them all. So yeah, just last 2 years kind of been in touch with Becky, debating coming in, and I think the timing this year is just worked out perfectly, and as well with the infrastructure of the club and what the new owners have done. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I can't lie, but I'm a Geordie at heart.
So are we, to be fair. We're loving it as well, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we went to the ladies' game. Was it last season now, Danielle? I can't keep up with this. It was last season. When they played at St James's. What a day that was. I mean, we outside the ground there was a sort of buzz, like it was the men's team playing. It was absolutely incredible. And then for 20,000 to turn up, and I mean, I took my little lad and he was hooked on it. He just absolutely loved it, because he sees more goals with the ladies team than he does with the men's. Every time I take the men's game, they never score. But it was. So did you get asked by Becky to come and did you have a trial or anything, or had Becky come and watched you play?
So I've played against teams that Becky's managed, probably about 10 times. In the last 3 years, maybe a bit more. in my second year, she was selected to be one of the coaches for England universities. And then my university coach put me in touch with her and said, like, this would be a really good thing for you to do, because I wasn't playing club football at the time. And that's kind of how I first knew Becky, and she invited me down to the academy, and I trained for a week with the girls, and I played a behind closed doors game. I think it was against Wolves. Played a little bit of minutes. It must have been maybe 2019. Then I went off subsequently on the universities camp with Becky. I thought she was a great coach, and then after that we've kind of had this rapport on text every now and then, like every now and then we'd text about university football. I'd be like, oh, what do you think of this team? What do I think of that? And it would always come back to, so when are you signing? When are you signing? And I also went to that game at St James's because I loved the game, loved the club. And I was also really, really taken aback. Like, I had goosebumps, and I had a little bit of regret deep in my heart. Like it was such an amazing thing for the sport, for the girls, and for the girls that played that game. Like, I am immensely jealous. And then after that, I went for coffee with Becky, and we called it a gentleman's agreement because we actually were playing each other in the national championship final for the university a few days later.
Yeah.
So I said, let's get this out of the way, but I will come.
Fantastic.
And that's all kickstarted it.
Brilliant. It's just incredible, really. I mean, I think the ladies have got a game at St James's Park again soon.
27th of November.
Yeah. You must be looking forward to that.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Excited to get my family up because it's been a while since they've seen me play, obviously with uni. And obviously the whole family, all fans. So I can't wait. I'm nervous.
Well, nerves is a good thing, though. Sometimes I think it can work in your favour at times, especially, I mean, you know, walking out at St James's Park, you know, even for the warm-up is, you know, some of the girls that played there last season were saying even for the warm-up, you know, they came out for the warm-up and then the game got delayed, didn't it, Danielle? Because
people were still coming in everywhere, and
crowd congestion, which I couldn't believe.
Amazing. It was absolutely fantastic. And I think when the girls came out to Local Hero, even I was crying. I was like so proud.
Well,
like, this is just a massive moment for women, like in the women's game, like amazing.
Obviously, I would assume you've met Amanda Staveley, Freya, or you know, seen what she's done for the ladies team. I mean, she had an ambition straight away. I think as soon as they took over, that she was very surprised that the ladies team weren't actually under the main umbrella of Newcastle United. Has there been much sort of interaction with her during the summer and into this season?
Yeah. I think during the summer was difficult because obviously the men's club were very busy at the transfer window, but she's been at 2 or 3 of our games now, always strolling about. I always said, oh my God, I love her trainers. She would just like stroll through our warm-up, not care in the world, but she's the most down-to-earth, approachable person you could imagine. And I think last night was the first time I personally got to chat to her. Just because when she's been around before, I've always been warming up kind of in the zone. But when I came in and had my first sit-down meeting with Sue and Becky, they really told me, like, Amanda is really an important part of this. Like, she's on the women's board separately, and she's really driving everything. And Becky was just saying how she's such an inspiration as a strong woman, like for us, just for our girls in the team, just everything about kind of her intentions and where she wants this club to go. I can't agree with you more. I think she's been massive kind of I don't even have the words.
I think she's lifted the whole thing about the women's game in Newcastle, you know, and if you look at even the crowds you're getting up at Gosforth now, you know, you're talking over 2,000, which is still a massive crowd compared to, you know, various teams that are much higher in the pyramid kind of thing. So you're doing, she's doing remarkable work, and I think you guys as well as players putting on performances like you do. And what I like about the women's game is that even at the end, all you players have time for the fans. You know, when the games finish, we're seeing so much on social media with you guys taking photos with the kids or the families there, and it really creates that family atmosphere that I think a lot of Newcastle fans really enjoy having, because they're able to take the kids to games that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do with the men's team because it's always sold out. So to come and see part of Newcastle United, which you guys are, it's an incredible plus point for these parents, for me as well. You know, bringing my little lad who loved it, loved watching, wants to go back. That's the main thing, isn't it? It's to go and watch the games, but to come away thinking, right, I want to go back because I really enjoyed it. And I think the fact that you girls spend a lot of time with the fans after games is really beneficial to the whole women's game.
Yeah, I mean, I played in the championship when I was 17, 18, and we didn't really get crowds like we do now down at Kingston Park. Even like Manchester United away, Liverpool away, probably wasn't the same kind of figures. And I think the difference now, especially after the summer, is that like women's football is no longer being like forced on people as a PR stunt or to try and like look good. Like people are actively seeking it out, and I think that's what we kind of appreciate the most. Like even the whole game, the Chorley game, we didn't perform at our best, and it's like the worst thing to have to go over, the best and worst, the worst thing to have to go over and say, because I'm the worst loser in the world. I don't want to speak to anyone. I want to think about how it's gone wrong. But I think also it's nice to go over and have that interaction and just be honest with them, because you guys that come down are like make such a difference. And Newcastle as a club, as a city, like just the people are amazing, and it's just trying to like make someone's day. Sorry, like if you can make one person's day by going over and speaking to them about how they found the game and just talking about a little thing, then we just want you to come back and we want the numbers to grow. So just doing everything that we can.
We see all the kiddies there with big smiles on their faces, the parents with big smiles on their faces. It's all that family atmosphere. Michael Marsden, thank you very much for a £100 super chat. That is incredible.
Wow.
Thank you so much for your continued donations to the channel, matey. And I will catch up with you very early tomorrow. It's moving house weekend, so Michael's giving me a big hand with that. We'll put a couple of comments. There's a couple of questions come in the comments for you, Freya. So we'll ask a couple of them, and then Alex and Danielle can fire away as well. Carl says, "Who's winning silverware first, the men or the women?"
Well, it's no secret. The girls were so bitterly close last year to winning the league and going up, and we're not afraid to make ourselves vulnerable and just admit that we really want to win the league, and we'll just be honest with that. So that's our main ambition. So it's going to have to be us.
Yeah. Well, look, totally correct saying that. I think, Danielle, what do you reckon? I think the women do stand more of a chance of winning something first, because the men's team are building. And I think promotion, I think, is that the real aim for this season, Freya?
Yeah, I think with the backing and the infrastructure and the investment that the club's given, you know, we've got to perform now. Like we can no longer just give excuses like, oh, we didn't get that, we need more. Like they're giving us everything we need and more, especially for where we are in the pyramid. So we've got to be accountable, and we just really want to win, and that's it.
Question from Chippers saying that, Freya, what is your dream as a footballer to achieve and why?
To walk out at St James's with my family there. Newcastle fan. I haven't played club football for 3 years before this, so it would just be nice to have the people I love around me watching me do the thing I love. So simple.
Brilliant. It was the milk tray man I was talking about before. What did I say? The dairy milk man? Why on earth?
I don't know. I just let it go, Paul, to be honest.
Yeah, thanks. Right, Danielle, any questions for Freya?
Yeah, so Freya, I know that you captain your university side. So kind of what advice would you give to young girls who are currently playing football, who have a real desire to lead their team?
I think that it's so important to just have confidence in yourself. I say openly to the girls in the changing room, like, I'm happy to speak, I'm happy to be a leader, but I don't mind if I say the wrong thing, and I'm happy to, I want to learn. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, even in any position, like you have to always want to learn. And I think being a leader just increases your opportunity to learn. So both at uni and at football, always just asking like, how can this be better? Like asking people what they think. There's a few girls more experienced and more senior than me in the Newcastle team, so normally at halftime I like to try and ask one of them what are you thinking, what can I do better. And I just think, confidence, even if you're not sure what you're saying is correct, just have the like ability to say it and just accept that if you're wrong, you're wrong. But it's just important to be a presence. I feel maybe I've just got a really annoying voice and I like the sound of it, but it's really helped me in general life as well. It's just such a transferable skill, and in my degree and in all my kind of non-football career stuff, it's really helped me and really made me stand out. So
brilliant, thank you.
Alex?
Yeah, I got a few. So you mentioned captaining the uni side. So is it weird to go from captaining the uni side and then to go and be the newbie in the NUFC team? Do you go from like being really vocal and instructing to then having to like not be able to do that, or do you just do it anyway? Like, how does that work?
I think it was different because of the rivalry I had with a lot of the girls. As I said, the final we played in just at the back end of last year's uni season and then coming to train, I think I probably said things that I can't repeat on YouTube to some of the girls in the middle of the game.
You could on this channel.
But when I came in, I did say, I've got to kind of be on best behaviour. But funny enough, it was those girls that I've known kind of through rivalry that encouraged me to speak out at training and give me the confidence to be like, like, we know kind of what you can do and how you can help others, so don't be afraid. But I think that in the team we all want the same thing, we are united and we all want to win, so that we just want everyone to be the best they can. So I was quiet for maybe, I'll give it a couple of weeks, and then I was probably now they wish I would shut up more.
Then
got your feet were under the table, so to speak. Yeah.
So we'll move away from being United then. What about personal? So do you have any pre-match rituals or any like song? Do you want to do you touch the grass? And are you gonna have? Do you have anything in mind for, the cathedral itself for St. James's when you go there?
I am a little bit superstitious in the sense that if I play well, I'll kind of do it again the next week, and then if we have a bad game, I think I'll do something new. This is really weird, but I love tea, and especially Earl Grey. So every match day morning, I will have an Earl Grey cup of tea.
Wow.
That's kind of my superstition. I think I need one for when we play at St. James's, because I've seen kind of Adam and the guys on YouTube, and they have the things where they tap the sign and everyone's copying it. Yeah,
Adam does that at the shop, doesn't he, when he walks down the stairs?
That's what I mean. I've seen it all on the Twitter.
Yeah. Do you know what it is though? Adam himself, when you I've been to a few away games with him. He's a good friend of mine. He's so quiet in the car though. Like when you go on away games, and then suddenly when you interview him, like I did for my channel last week, or when he does his own videos on the camera, you're thinking, wow, this is just like a totally different guy. But it is funny when you talk about rituals like that he does, because you see the kids now, when they come down the stairs from the shop wearing the shirts, they tap the wall twice like Adam does. It's strange. But I think you'll possibly have to sort of, I don't know, pinch a bit of grass or something, or just for the something to remember it by.
Yeah, I think that I'll just want to be in the zone and just really enjoy it and make sure that it's performance to remember.
Just take in every second for you, like literally.
I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's you've got to be focused on the game, but you have to let yourself, appreciate where you are as well, and just how far you've come as a footballer as well to run out at St. James's Park. I mean, it's one of the biggest grounds in the UK, and it's something you should be immensely proud of. Ian asks a question saying, Freya, who is your favourite women player?
I think after her summer, I'll say Leah Williamson. I think maybe I would like to say we're a bit similar in the sense that she could probably play centre mid or centre back and is a bit technical on the ball. I'd like to think those are some of the qualities that I can have. And and you know she's been excellent at leading the Lionesses this summer. So I'll say her.
I mean, it was fantastic. Again, we're talking about, you know, women's football, the profile being raised, and then you see them win the European Championship. It was absolutely fantastic. But we were talking about, Danielle, just how quickly that tournament gathered pace, because there wasn't much in it when it first started. But then as England got through, and it really started to build, and then, of course, a fantastic sold-out Wembley Stadium. I mean, is that something you really aim for as a footballer yourself, Freya?
Yeah, I think having people want to watch you play, like that's the ultimate goal for in any kind of like walk of life. I think that's what's really impressed me. Like, as I said, like people actively wanting to come and watch women's football and like actively seeking it out. And like every game now there's a new record break. The North London derby the other week, you know, like the game against America selling out so quickly. I just think I just want it to continue.
I think we smashed the record in November. I think we absolutely do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think there'll be a big build up to that game, and a lot of advertising and promotion of the game.
We'll all be there, don't you worry. We will all be there.
Absolutely, we will. Really looking forward to it again. Francisco, good evening. Hello, Toon Review and Farm Chat and Mods, and welcome to our wonderful guest. May success always find you, lass. Paul, Danielle, Alex, massive cheers to you. Francisco's in Puerto Rico, Freya, so a fan from far away. George, thank you for your £4 super chat. Very much appreciated, mate. Alex, any more questions there?
Yeah, well, obviously, even in the top league, the data's a bit, they don't track as much as we would like they do in the men's leagues, unfortunately, because I love digging into statistics. That's kind of my thing.
Oh, yes.
But what about training? Because obviously that's maybe a little bit easier to implement. Do you guys have sort of things tracked? Do you wear the bibs? Do you have things that are tracked in like training matches? Like, how detailed is it in comparison to what we know about the men's game? Because this is something I'm completely ignorant to, and I just don't know.
It's definitely more than you think, and especially this year, the staff that the guys have got on the team, you know, we've got psychologists, 2 sports scientists, therapists, physio. Like, we have more support than we would need in this kind of, not than we need, but for where we are. It probably surpasses a lot of the other teams in the league. So we wear the GPS for the games, and it gives us a lot of detailed analysis. Kind of works out an individual player load, so how many times you accelerate, decelerate, top speeds, all of that kind of stuff. Gives you a heat map of where you are. But Kirsty, who kind of leads it, is very thorough. So we've worn it for the first 4 games to get like a stock. So we don't like get any crazy averages.
Like a baseline,
Yeah, so we've just finished the game. Lincoln, I think it was the last one of that. So now we're kind of really looking at the data. And then on training days, we have to fill out, kind of tell the staff how well we slept, how we're feeling, how motivated we are. It's really specific to us as women as well. Stuff about like where you are in your menstrual cycle as to like how that might impact how much we're going to lift in the gym. So it's very thorough.
So thorough. That's amazing.
It's tenfold on what I had when I was playing in the championship. So we're definitely going in majorly the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's brilliant that they're here, because I think if, you know, we were talking about Amanda's dreams for the women's team to be in that Super League at some point. So why not start everything off as you intend to go on? You know, treat the club like you're in the Super League already, and then that you certainly, as players, I would think, benefit from that, from what you're probably used to and where you've come from. Louis says, love watching the lasses play. The St. James's Park game was the reason I bought a women's season ticket. Tom's asking, Freya, has there been much contact and support with or from the men's team?
Yeah, there's been lots of support, not just from the men's team, but the club as a whole. This year is the first time they've ever like officially employed female players, so it was a massive step for like the whole club and HR in general. When Dan Ashworth came in, he's been down to training, been down to games, introduced himself. We had our headshots on the same day the men had them with Serena, the club photographer. All the little things that you would never think about if you had them, but when you're getting them now, when we previously haven't had them, they're just like the tiny things. And especially, like, I'm a fan of the club. I think all but 2 of the girls are Newcastle supporters, so it's just so much more precious. Like, every tiny moment, you know, we love this club so much. And we are United this year, like on and off.
It's really good to hear you say that you love the club, considering you're not a Geordie, but
whoa, adopted Geordies. We love the club.
Hang on, let me finish. I knew Alex was going to pounce on me for that. No, it's great to hear because, you know, as Alex is very well aware, you get some idiots on social media who say, "Oh, if you're not from Newcastle or not a Geordie, you can't support Newcastle," and all of that. And then we get players, even in the men's team, coming into the club, like, for instance, Bruno. He's come into the club and has absolutely fallen in love with it. You know, loves meeting fans. Joe Linton's out there in the streets meeting fans. It's incredible, and that's the kind of thing that we see now from players that coming in, whether they be men or for the ladies team, coming in and just falling in love with the place, and it's so good to hear. That, you know, because
it does it to foreigners, to people not from the northeast. Whatever ground I visit in the country, when the game's over, I turn and leave. If I'm at St James's Park, I cling on to that last moment I see grass before I go back down those stairs. I don't like leaving. I have to stay that extra few seconds. I'm sure people not from the northeast can relate to that. Like,
under the last few years, Alex, I've been glad to leave, to be honest, under certain managers, but it's very, very different now, of course. Francisco, thank you very much for your $5. He says, "Evening, Paul, Danielle, and Alex, and welcome to our wonderful guest, Freya. As a player yourself, do you have any suggestions for our men's team?"
Good question.
Do you know what? I think that they're in a good stage. I think they've been unlucky with the draws not being wins, and there's been a few tight calls that, like, on another day would go your way and you do well. They are in a different place to us, so it's hard to draw comparisons. You know, the game is slightly different. But I think in our team talks, we talk about what Newcastle done the day before the men, and we're trying to kind of build that identity as a club as a whole. But you've kind of, at the end of the day, just got to do what you need to do to win the games. I think Eddie's got it under control.
Yeah,
I think we're in a good place.
He always seems so calm. Susan Britton, thank you for your £10 super chat.
That's my boss.
She says, "Is that your boss?" She says, "Keep up the great work, guys, and hopefully Cramlington under-8s girls have a great season with your support." Yeah, we as a channel, Freya, we decided to sponsor Cramlington under-8s girls team for this season. So we'll get a progress report about how they're doing, how they've started very soon. Ian says his favourite player is Alicia Lehman. What a surprise. You know what it is, though? She's actually a very good footballer, isn't she, Freya? You know, despite that, she is.
She is. I played against her in a pre-season friendly when I was 17, and she just came to West Ham. She's good. And
I think she's dating a Villa player, isn't she? I think she's seen one of the Aston Villa players, but she is actually a very good footballer and has represented, I think it's Switzerland she plays for, isn't it? So she's done really well, despite, you know, the things that she does on TikTok and things like that, Ian, which is probably what you're talking about. But there you go. She seems like she's got a quite a jokey character, actually, given what she does with the other girls. Is that what it's like in the girls' team at Newcastle? Is there a big bond there? Because over previous years in football teams, especially with Newcastle, we've seen obviously cliques gathering and, you know, with different people from different areas. What's it like in that girls' dressing room?
It's a good dressing room, to be fair. Like, everyone's pretty good. Like, everyone's pretty close. Obviously, people have like their closer friends, and that's going to be the same in every team. But there's no kind of. It's not like you wouldn't speak to someone. Like, I'd be happy to go and speak to anyone in that team, and they've all been so welcoming to me and every new addition that we've had in this year. I think as a collective, we all just know the direction that we're going in and where we want to be.
And that helps obviously on the pitch, doesn't it? completely restores motivation, confidence, and that togetherness, which the men's team have got as well. You see that when you guys score goals or the men's team score goals, there's that real coming together. You know, everybody celebrates the goal. There's hardly one player walks away. They're all in there celebrating. And I think that's what we notice as fans more than anything is the sense of togetherness that
absolutely,
you know, the teams have.
I don't think it's ever been stronger than what it is now, over both teams. And you know, like you say, Freya, we are united. So I've never felt more connected to the club, both women's team and men's team, than I do right now.
Well, we get a lot. I think what's helping is that, you know, the communication with the club for both the men and the women is completely different to what we're used to as fans. You know, under the Ashley era, we never heard anything from the club full stop. But I think what Newcastle United are doing now as a club, they're promoting both. So like we're seeing a lot more photos from you know, the women's team training, as well as the games. We're seeing everybody working hard and loads of news coming from the ladies' game as well, which we're not used to. And I think that's made a massive difference. Steve says, Freya, who had the biggest influence on you when you started playing football?
When I done my interview, went in the men's program for the first game against Notts, my dad actually texted me and said, "You forgot the bit about me being your first and best coach." So
yeah,
I'll give it to my dad. Good guy.
Yeah. See, I used to play ice hockey, and my dad was a big influence on me playing that. You know, pushed me quite hard as a kid, which I didn't like at the time. I must admit, I hated it. But you know, getting up for early morning training sessions, etc. But you know, it came to fruition in the end, and you look back and you think, yeah, you know, did the right thing. Your boss is back again, Danielle. I'm a Mackham. What? Oh, yeah, you've said that many times, actually. But love any football and women's football, full stop. Love what you were doing here to raise awareness of women's football.
Well said, boss. Yeah. Well said, Gaffer.
And we will continue to do that on here as well. Mind you, Freya, I must admit, we've emailed quite a few girls to, players, and you're the first one that's got back to us. So if there's any watching, please answer our messages. Because we really do. We do want to push the women's team more on this channel, because, you know, we're a Newcastle United channel. And I think, you know, if Newcastle United as a club are going to push both teams, then for me, the podcasts and YouTube channels and all that should do the same. You know, so that's what we sort of wanted to get you on for, to learn more about it, which we're certainly doing. Let's have a look. See if we get Alex. Have you any more questions there?
I've got a question.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah. So I'm actually ambassador for Her Game 2 for Newcastle United. Obviously, we're working at eradicating sexism in football. So whether that's, you know, women attending games or women having an opinion on social media. I just wanted to ask you, Freya, what's your experience in terms of any barriers you've had in front of you on social media, or, you know, in sport generally, in terms of sexism?
I think it's a tough one. Growing up, I was always a bit of a tomboy, so I was kind of used to being in kind of male-dominated areas, if you want to call it that. I don't know if maybe I'm just a bit thick-skinned, but I didn't really tend to notice things, or it didn't hold me back. But I recognise that I'm probably in a position of privilege compared to a lot of girls that do face those barriers and are subjected to a lot worse things. So I think it's really important that, like, as us, me in my position this year of joining Newcastle and signing the official contract and everything, like, I have to do what I can, because there's players that have played at this level and a higher level than me previously that would never have got the support that I get. So I think it's important that we recognise that, and they would have had to face a lot more barriers than we do now. But that's not good enough for us to stop, because we need to keep going, so that the girls that we're speaking to at our matches and the girls that we want to be role models for get just as much access as the boys do.
Absolutely.
Well, funny enough, you know, along the same lines as that, Keith's asking, Freya, do you go out and visit the grassroots girls teams across the Northeast?
Yeah, so I think I don't know exactly how it works because I'm not a local, and I'm in Durham more so than Newcastle. But we do a lot of player appearances at lots of grassroots clubs across Northumberland FA and the region. And the mascots we get in for our games, we get them in the changing room before we start kind of our pre-match routine, and they walk out of us. These are all grassroots girls teams that have generally played the day before. And we like to chat to them, ask how they're getting on. So we do try as much as we can, but now that we are officially under the club, it goes through them. So I don't know the logistics, but as players, we do exactly as much as we can.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Rob C says, 17 years I've been involved with girls football and never once seen a player get scouted for Newcastle. I really hope to see this change over the next few years. I have no doubt in my mind that that will change because obviously, like Freya's just said, they're under the Newcastle United umbrella now, and that includes all the scouting networks, etc. So I would assume that will be happening, especially as, you know, the ladies' teams rise up the pyramid. Ian says, Freya, if you could sign any player you wanted for the men's team right now, who would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Someone that loves Newcastle, first and foremost. I think we need a striker right now, just with injury woes.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say a striker. Maybe someone that stick a header in the Gallagher. Maybe I'd say Haaland, probably, given his form.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Just on the injury, you mentioned, you know, the amount of injuries that the men's team have got this season. What are your thoughts on that? Because does that happen a lot in the women's team as well, where suddenly there'll just be a spell where the whole spine of the team seems to get injured, and it's always sort of those spine players that you rely on as well? And does that happen a lot in the women's game, or is it just the men's team that seem to have this voodoo over them?
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head. We've actually had a bit of a tough kind of end to pre-season with the injuries, and we've lost a lot of the spine of the girls that were here before. So both centre backs, Liv and Ellen, suffered pretty serious injuries, and they've both had surgery. So I signed as a midfielder, but I'm playing in centre back because they're both out.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I think it was one game, and I think we sustained maybe 3 injuries, 2 of which were pretty long term. It's hard. It is just the luck of the draw, and we're doing everything we can. The guys, the staff, looking at the science behind it, they're going way above and beyond, and sometimes it's just unlucky. But the support and the care that they're getting this year compared to last is absolutely second to none. I think all of the girls have gone straight in for surgery like extremely quickly, whereas a few seasons ago they'd be waiting around on the NHS. And then the aftercare and the support that we have around them and us as girls are trying to give them has just been so good, because then it means that we can get back from them, so they're in a better place to help us off pitch as much as they can. So
do you know what? I'm starting to think there's a bloody voodoo over this club. I mean, we were talking on another show a few shows ago just about remember when Rudd Hull had got a priest to St James's Park because he thought the club was cursed, and we're starting to say the same again with, obviously, if it's happening in the women's game as well, in your team, and then the men's team. I'm thinking, Jesus.
I mean, it's never Murphy or Matty Longstaff, is it? It's always Maxi and Bruno.
Well, it is. But I'm starting to think we need to get some holy water sprinkled on that ground again and around the training grounds. It's crazy. Foxy says, "Hey, Toon Review and Freya. Question: does Freya have international aspirations for the future? Because I can see it now. Freya Bailes lifting the World Cup in 2027."
Well, never say never. I think for me this year, I'm just trying to be honest with myself. So I've had some time away from club football. And I am also studying. So for me, the goal is to balance my university and get a good master's while also playing the best football I can play, the most minutes, stay fit and healthy, and just try and help this team and this club as much as I can.
I mean, obviously, football plays a big part of your life. Is that, once you do get the masters, etc., is football going to be your immediate future? Is that where you want to be, and then sort of look at your qualifications, etc., after you finish playing?
I haven't thought about it too much. I think that where women's football is now and was when I started university, it's kind of, that was for me. I need a job that can give me security, and that was always the focus first and foremost. It's only now that we're getting kind of the support, but we're still almost in limbo. Whereas unless you're in the top league, it is a massive balancing act between, unfortunately, a job that can pay for your life, for your house, and then playing as well. So I don't want to put too much pressure on it, and I'm also massively putting off growing up, which is why I did stay for the masters. So I'm trying to put it off as long as I can. But I'm enjoying the football. The direction that we're going in is amazing. So I just want to play as long as I enjoy it.
Enjoy it as long as you can.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Jolly Metal, thanks for your £20 super chat. He says, was at Lincoln on Saturday. What a great result. And just want to say to Freya, for a standing centre back, you have been brilliant.
Thank you so much.
There you go. We've also got a £5 super chat from Toon Dave. Good evening, all. Lovely to hear Freya on her take on the changes at the only true United. Best of luck for the season and promotion. How are the lasses? Alex?
Yeah, you mentioned like having to. I mean, that's really frustrating, that the fact that you have to consider job security when men in theory can just go through an academy and not have to care about it. I know they do value the education. They try and set them up just in case. But so in training, do they actually talk to you about how to behave? Well, so behave's the wrong word. Like how to manage your body and stamina and posture. Do you get a lot of that? Because obviously it's not always training pitch home. It's you've got to sit in lecture halls and sit down, and some have got to do jobs. So do you get advised on how to like move better and how to rest properly, balance the day jobs and life?
Yeah, you're so right. It's difficult, like so difficult. We've got a group of us that are students. There's a few that are teachers. We've got a couple police officers, so the routines of the team, it's a lot to manage and a lot on different kind of schedules.
Police officers in football, that's got to be really hard.
Yeah, very difficult to put together.
When they're working night shifts and stuff, I have so much respect for them when they come to training, and I think that we understand that that's where we're at. And when we all rock up to training, you don't know the day that people have had before, or what they've got coming up, and that's kind of why we have to put a bigger emphasis on communication with the staff and all the stuff we fill out about how much have you slept, have you eaten, all this stuff. The guys are so good, the support is there for us, the infrastructure and the staff, and if we have a question, then you can ask it. So I had to ask my fitness session today to be tailored because I couldn't fit it around my uni yesterday, and that's exactly what was done for me. So we ask and they deliver, and we're doing the best we can with the situation we're in.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And a strange one, obviously. This is kind of a unified question. So we've changed style a little bit under Eddie Howe. Well, a little bit, a lot. Lots of final third pressing, intensity, a very different way of playing football compared to what the men's team used to play. And obviously there seems to be a trickle down into the academies as well, and a bit more of an identity. And then with Dan Ashworth coming in as well. Is that the same for the women's? Is there like a brand? Are they trying to implement that style with you guys, or is it just, Becky's kind of just doing a different thing based on the players she's got? How does that work?
Probably a bit of both. We can't just take what the men's do and put it in if it doesn't suit the players and it doesn't fit the game. Women's football and the level we're at has a really high amount of turnovers and transitions in the game, a lot more than you would see in one of the men's games. So it's different in that sense, but kind of the DNA of Newcastle when I arrived was that they're a really high press and aggressive team, and I think a lot of the success they had last season was from the front three being so aggressive in that press and winning it. So we really want to try and keep working on that, and keep that as it brought them success. But we look at what the men do. We kind of, one of the assistants, Lloyd, jumped in the other day before a game, and we said, look, this is what Eddie done yesterday. This is where the players started from a goal kick. This is the options it gives you. Let's see like how we can do that. And I know that Becky was joking yesterday that she was chewing Eddie's ear off, asking him about tactics at the dinner. But I think
she said that on a few interviews, actually, hasn't she? That she was going to have a little chat with him, and maybe the other way around as well. Eddie getting some advice from Becky. Yeah,
I think it's just trying to help both ways as much as possible. And you know, they've got a great team, Eddie, Jason, and all of the staff there. So we'd be silly not to ask and learn from it.
Does Jason Tyndall look as intimidating in real life as he does on photographs?
He looks a lot more tanned in real life.
Yeah, yeah. He's just we just look at his photos, and he always seems to have those sort of eyes that would actually light up a lighthouse. He's just sort of very full on, but he seems to have a fantastic relationship with obviously Eddie Howe. They've worked together for a long time.
But he got that towel and that tan. They went to Saudi Arabia, didn't they? He got the tan, and it's never gone. It's just days.
I think sunbeds might have something to do with that. I think that's possibly one of the ways he likes to relax. Is keeping that tan topped up. I Like Coffee says, I'd love to see Katie Barker on the Toon Review as well. Fingers crossed. She's already.
I'll have a word.
Yes, if you would, because if she looks in a Twitter inbox, she will find a message from the Toon Review asking her. But she's doing really well, isn't she? She's not the tallest either, is Katie, the position she plays, but she's a handful, isn't she?
That I've had 3 years of playing against her at uni, and she actually got me sent off in the last final we played for the last 20 seconds because she turned me so well, and I just thought there's nothing I can do right here. So she stood still, we just hit each other, and Becky and I were laughing about it last night because I just said well done. She's so difficult to play against, and last season she was record goal scorer, but I think what she doesn't get enough credit for is she does really ugly things so well. Like she presses, she holds the ball up. She's just such a handful, and I can say that from experience playing against her and training with her day in, day out. And I know she will get the goals this year, but even if she doesn't get as many as last year, which I do doubt, you know, she needs massive credit for the other stuff that she does as well.
I just love the way she plays the game. She's very physical. She's one of those players for me that is a perfect striker because she just gets stuck in. She doesn't care how sort of tall or big the opposition are. She will still give 110% and cause a lot of mischief when she isn't even on the ball at times, and that's what you want from a striker as well. But for you, obviously, you know, you've just said there, you normally play midfield and you're back in playing centre half at the minute. How are you finding that? Is it a position that you like playing, or would you rather be in midfield?
I want to play on the pitch first and foremost. I want to play where the team needs me. I was centre mid before uni, and then I've had 3 years of playing centre back at uni. But it's something I've been open about with the girls, and that there's been times I've struggled, and especially with both Liv and Ellen being out, we don't have a centre back who knows the league, knows the players. So there's something that I learned about in my degree called learning by doing, and I feel like that just sums up where we're at as a back four and where I'm at as a centre back for the next few months until the girls get fit again. And I kind of try.
Is that how long they're out for? You expecting months?
Ellen's up went pretty well, and it was kind of quicker than we anticipated. But you know, I just think that you can't really put dates on it, and I don't know how they feel.
Of course.
I wish them the very best, and I want them to be back as soon as possible, but they need to just look after themselves.
I suppose it's good for Becky, though, that she's got a player like yourself who, you know, when injuries do happen like that.
So versatile.
Yeah, that she can call on you to play that position, which obviously should obviously like her two centre-halves back, but at least she's got somebody that she can rely on to fall back into that place. On Becky herself, what's she like as a manager? Because she comes across really, really friendly and things like that in the interviews whenever you hear her speak. But she speaks very well about the game. And she seems to me like she's sort of the Eddie Howe version of coaching in the women's game. She's very, very focused.
Yeah, she is. She's got a real hunger and drive to be better. And it's something we spoke about after the whole game, that if you don't train like you would expect in a match day, then you can't get that intensity. So since then, we've had a real kind of increase in the standards we hold ourselves accountable in training. In terms of, we said before a game, we don't want to concede set pieces, and we did. So then she really looked into that, and how do we get that better at that? And it's not just the set piece itself, but it's everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
Very thorough. I like her, but you say she's friendly, but she's not afraid to tell you what you need to be told. And I like that. I think honesty is such an underrated quality. And she's just open and honest, and I could go to her with anything and she'll give me an honest answer. And she's been excellent since I've come in.
Great. We've got a few more questions, just about 10 more minutes, Becky, if that's okay. Becky. I'm starting talking about Becky. I'm calling you Becky now, so there you go. But we've got a few more questions in the comments for you, and then we'll go on to see if Danielle or Alex has got anything else. Up there once is just wondering what Freya thinks about VAR. Would you prefer not to have it in the women's game, as it's kind of spoilt the men's game? Where do you lie on it? Because obviously Newcastle men's team have been hit by it quite a few times already this season.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one. Like, you're obviously biased and you want it to go your way. I think that I'd just like to see things done as professionally and as well as they can. And if bringing VAR into a women's game makes the officiating better, then great. Yeah, let's have it in, and then we can kind of lose the controversy and the grey areas. Things will be black and white. But obviously, then comes with that is then the things that that Newcastle men have suffered with. So it's kind of a double-edged kind of, you got to see both sides. We've had a few unlucky decisions in the season, but something that I said is, if you have to rely on one decision to win a game, then I don't think you've done enough to deserve it. So I think that we just need to do as much as we can to win a game by as big a margin as possible, and control the things that you can control. So VAR or no VAR.
I think we said that over the games with Newcastle at home to Palace. Just that one VAR, the amount of possession and opportunities.
It gets tough saying that every week, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I Like Coffee says, aside from football, Freya, what do you do to unwind in your free time?
I don't get a lot of it now. I've started my masters, so I'm actually just really boring. I like to sleep. I'm going to sleep at like 9 o'clock every night now.
Wow.
I've spent summer in Durham, kind of away from my friends and family, and it gave me a lot of time to kind of find peace in really boring things. Like, I'd go for a walk, I'd have a coffee. When I'm with my pals, I like to think I'm pretty good at like pool and bowling, so I love like arcade stuff like that. Yeah.
Just the normal ways to unwind. I mean, Durham's, I live in Durham myself, so I know what it's like. There's lots of opportunities to sort of walks down the river and stuff like that to clear your head or whatever. It can be a little quiet sometimes, but then I suppose anywhere can be like that. Billy's asking, are all of the ladies' squad full-time? I doubt it from what you've been talking about, but talking of injuries, if a non-full-time player gets injured, obviously, what's the problem? How does it work out with the normal job? Do Newcastle United, interact with people's jobs and work colleagues? Do they contact the places to help with that?
I think there's no doubt the club would do everything they can to support every player. But every player's contract is confidential. We don't talk about it. I wouldn't ask someone else in another walk of life. So, that's not something for me to discuss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Who would Freya rather be stuck in a lift with, Steve Bruce or Alan Shearer? Well, Dear God,
Is
Stu,
there a
there's only one
choice?
answer there, surely.
Yeah, definitely Shearer number 9.
Yeah, he did ask before what you to ask you what you thought of Steve Bruce, but I ain't putting you on the spot like that at all. No way. Alex, Danielle, any more questions?
I've got a bit of a silly question, really, Freya. So if you could have kind of a tea or a coffee party, right? And you could only, if you had to pick 3 players, past or present, to invite to that party, who would you pick and why?
Interesting.
Like male or female or both?
Any?
I think where I'm at currently, it would have to be some of the Newcastle legends. Because I'm a massive fan, but I'm only 22, and there's so much history of the club that I don't know about. I went to Bobby Robson's last game at St James's when they done the kind of England thing. I'd probably say like Bobby Robson, Alan Shearer. Do you know what? I actually love Joey Barton as well, because I think
Oh God, yeah.
What a character!
As long as he doesn't bring his French accent.
Yeah. Well, yes. Joey Barton, it would be. I think it'd be a hell of a laugh. I really do. I think it'd be a really good laugh. Have you ever, obviously living in Durham, have you ever just gone out to Langley Park and visited where Sir Bobby's grave is?
I haven't. No.
No. It's not far.
I've never done that. That's a good shout, actually.
We should all go.
Well,
I'll add it to my bucket list.
It's in Langley Park, which is literally 2 miles from me. But I used to live in Langley Park, so I used to sort of go and visit on his sort of birthday and things like that, and any anniversary for Sir Bobby, there is always people taking the time to go and lay flowers on his grave and things like that, and it's very, very touching, because whatever the occasion is, there is still people will turn up year after year after year and lay flowers or whatever, and it's really nice. So I would, the thing is, it's not sort of a huge thing, it's just like a normal cemetery, normal church, but obviously a legend is there in Sir Bobby, and it's incredible. And you kind of get that feeling, when you're just walking around somewhere, then suddenly you get this sort of, it could be anything, just that feeling that you're around or in the presence of someone great. And that's how it feels when you're there. It's incredible. Steve says, Freya, are you and the rest of the players being recognised more out and about now? And has your life changed much since you signed for Newcastle?
Do you know what? It has actually changed a lot. I always joke with my friends that I'm famous now, but not in a narcissistic way, but I just feel so supported, and all of the fans, like on the Twitter, the social media, when you come down to Kingston Park, I've never felt like anything like it. It's a really special feeling, and we've been talking about walking out at St James's, but the walk out at Kingston Park's pretty special too. So yeah, I've noticed the difference, and I think, as I said, like a lot of the girls support the team, but pulling on the shirt and walking out playing for the club that you've grown up supporting, it's a bit more special than in other teams that I've played for.
Definitely. Alex, you got one last question there?
Yeah, so just about your competitiveness in training. So obviously, we get to see training videos for men's teams all around the world on YouTube channels and different things. And you always see there's crossbar challenges, who gets the nutmeg gets laughed at, and they do the beep test, who's the fittest. So are you topping any of those? Are you trying to, or is there somebody, if you got like one standout woman in the team who just smashes all of it, like a freak fitness person? Or
do you know, in the fitness test, when Jill she's come from America, they're obviously always fitter, and she didn't do the first, so we done 2 tests in pre-season just to see like how much you've improved. She wasn't in for the first one, so come the second one, she was kind of asking like, do you think it'll be bad, like how like, will I be okay? And she just smashed it, like absolutely. Like I had probably 10-15 seconds on the rest of us, so she was absolutely out the park on that. But wow. I think one of the things Becky's really instilled is those standards in training, like it comes with competitiveness too. And if we want to win games, you've got to want to win more than anything. So there's a few of the girls that like to try the little Megs in training, but in all the small-sided games and that, you know, we want to win. Something that she talked about when she was signing me, like, I would rather die than lose. And same at uni when we play against them, same when I'm in training with them, and just, yeah, very competitive across the board.
That's exactly how to be as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, coming through playing ice hockey, I couldn't. It just wasn't even an issue to try and lose it. It wasn't even in our heads. We went out there to win, even if it was just a training session. We hated losing, scrimmaging, whatever it may be. It was horrible to lose. One last question for you, Freya, from Tobias. Has Freya ever had the opportunity to play overseas, or is it something she would consider in the future after winning everything at Newcastle?
I think the first opportunity to play overseas was to go to uni in America. You see a lot of the girls in the female game do it. I'm just really stubborn, and my sister did it. She went to Rhode Island, so immediately I just didn't want to copy her. So I kind of shut that down, but I think it's a great opportunity, and if I was a bit less stubborn, then maybe it could have been good. I think there's a lot of countries that have really good leagues. Iceland, Norway, obviously America. There's a lot of progress both abroad and here, and I'd like to think that I'd consider any opportunity that was the right one for me, be it abroad or in the UK.
I think it'd be a bit warmer in America though than Iceland and Norway, to be honest, Freya.
I'd probably have a tan like Jason's if I went there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Freya, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight, and thank you very much for agreeing to come on, because like I said, we do on this channel want to start promoting the women's team, and we're going to try and sort of have a once a week show dedicated to the women. That is something that I've wanted to do on the channel for a long time. So obviously to get yourself on tonight and chat about your personal aspirations, but the women's team as well, that can only bode well. And we'd love to have some more players on. So if you can get in that dressing room and rustle a few feathers for us, just to say, look, that they're not, we don't bite or anything, and we'd love to get some more on and just keep promoting it. Because obviously I'm going to start taking my little lad to the women's game a lot more often now, because he absolutely loves it. So it's very easy to get to as well. It's not a difficult ground to get to. Absolutely. It's very well priced as well, and it's just a great all-around family atmosphere. So it's if you haven't been to a Newcastle ladies game yet, get yourself there. It is a fantastic atmosphere. It is a very, very much family orientated as well. And you never know, you can get your picture taken or get autographs signed by the girls themselves, which will be absolutely tremendous. But listen, Freya, thank you very much, and best of luck for the rest of the season. We hope to get you on again actually towards the back end of the season to tell us how it's gone and things like that. And really, really good luck personally and for the team.
No, thank you so much. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to come and talk all things Newcastle, and hopefully we'll get to see you guys and all of your followers down at the game soon.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Freya. Take care.
Thanks, Freya.
Cheers.
Take care.
Good night.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. So there you go. That was Freya Bailes. I have to say, fantastic young lady with her head well and truly screwed on, doing a master's and football. And really interesting to hear that two of the Newcastle United ladies team are police officers, which, still turning up for training on night shifts and everything like that. That is hard work and dedication as well, guys, which is fantastic to see. But when you hear Freya talking like that, it does make you want to, become more involved with the women's team as well, doesn't it?
But it's so inspiring. Like people like Freya in the women's team can make such a difference for the generations that are coming through after. Like little girls who are sitting at Kingston Park and watching her play, and I want to be like Freya. Like that is a reality. So what a great role model she is. Fantastic.
And I think, as we mentioned to her before, the fact that they spend time with the fans after games, it's that's where it differs from the men, because the women they're going around and they're getting photos taken, they're signing autographs, even when they lose, which is they had a disappointing match. I think Freya mentioned it against, was it Croydon? I think they lost to, but they still made an effort with the fans, and that for me is incredible. Because they're feeling down after just losing a game, but they still want to give that effort with the fans, and I think that's where that family orientation of the ladies' games comes across. which is what I'd love to do. Is really dedicate a show once a week or once every 2 weeks to the ladies team, because I think, like I said earlier, it's very important now that they're under the Newcastle United umbrella. So we as podcasters or reporters or YouTube channel, whatever it is, should also dedicate some time to the ladies team, because it's Newcastle United, whether it be the men or women. It is Newcastle United, and that is who we support. And hopefully we'll get more of the girls on to talk as well, which will be fantastic. Maybe even Becky at one point. I'd love to get Becky on and have a chat with her. I'm sure you could fire some interesting questions at her, Alex, with stats and stuff.
That'd be fun. That'd be very fun.
When Freya started, when Freya started talking about all the sort of stuff that they had about stats and things like that,
see Alex's eyes
God,
light up.
It's incredible how detailed it is for the women's team, and that's just, again, hats off to Amanda. The fact that they had the Saudis and the consortium and everything, and ultimately it was the brand, but they don't care. They appreciate. They want to help the city, charities, the history, the legends, the women's team. They're not bothered about. Obviously, there is a bigger picture for like the men's team and trophies, but they care about all those other things as well. And it shows the attention to detail with going into sleep cycles and stuff as far as the women's team.
I mean, I got a surprise.
Incredible.
I must admit, I didn't think all that went on with the girls.
Well, again, for any of you stat douters out there, I know some of you don't like what I do. Well, the clubs obviously find it important, so it's great to see it in the women's game as well.
Well, Jodie Metal says here, Beth Guy is one of the police officers, and she also plays for the National Police Women's Team.
Wow, that's amazing.
But that's stuff we didn't know, and that's stuff that we, when we start focusing as we are now on the girls' team, we'll get to know the players much better. Especially if we can get them on. I'm not saying
I'm making a little background with shirts. I'll have to make sure I have a woman's shirt on there as well as the men's.
Yes. But if we can get a few of them on, just to promote themselves and the women's team, and give us an insight as to what they're, some of them may, I'm not sure whether any of them are full time but a lot of them will dedicate a lot of their time to football. And you've got to take your hat off to players like Freya, who are doing a master's. That's not easy. And to focus on football as well as the university team, it's incredible.
I don't think I would have been able to do that when I was at uni. I don't think I would have been, and work as well. And to
have that kind of drive at that age is quite incredible. Actually, it really is. And,
it's really good to be able to put a personality to the players as well.
Yeah,
we get that with the men's team, whereas on the website, there's a very limited information about some of the women's players. So it's nice to I mean, you can relate to them more, you can understand it and buy into it. It's how
I think
work,
that helps them as a team as well, because like Danielle, you mentioned before, it creates that atmosphere where if some of the girls are coming on the channel and talking about their personal aspirations, but the team as well, it gives a view to everybody watching, or everybody who's going to watch in the next few days that missed the show tonight, that will watch the rerun. They'll think, oh, you know what, she talks really sensible, and putting a sort of personality to these players is brilliant. Yeah, it connects them to the viewers, which can only benefit them. Adam's doing a fantastic job covering the girls' team. He really is. He's and hats off to him for that. He's done a remarkable job putting them in the spotlight, and that's what I want to do on this channel as well. I think that there's not enough of that going on, is promoting the women's game, and the women's team. There's not enough. So I think if we can all pull together as channels and keep promoting them, then it's going to help them. It's going to help us as fans to go and watch them more often, and really start become involved as a club. And overall,
how good is the game at St James's Park going to be, though? I mean,
look,
I'm bringing flags. I'm bringing
everything.
Try
and come up.
Alex, you'll have to try and come up.
I need to check when the next fixtures are, because when I'm up for Brentford, I need to see whenever I'm up if I can try and also go to a ladies' game.
It was just the atmosphere, wasn't it, Danielle? Lee was there. We sat with you and Lee, and Michael Marsden was there, and little Ben was with me, and Ben just had a fantastic day because he hit it off with Lee straight away. He was having great banter outside the ground with Lee, and obviously Michael, as well, the Chile man, he knows Michael as now, and but that's what I mean. It created that atmosphere where fans can come together and enjoy and watch some good football. Because I said throughout that game that I was really surprised at the quality and how
For
good it
me,
was to watch.
It was just pride.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, this is what a moment this is for this city and this club, and how much we've changed since this takeover's happened. And these girls, I mean, how committed they are to obviously the football and the other things they've got going on, and how inspirational is that? And for me, it's watching Newcastle United. It isn't watching Newcastle United women. It's just watching Newcastle United.
Exactly.
That's how I say it.
Exactly, and the football was great. It was a great day out, and why can't it keep happening? You know, and Amanda has to take a lot of credit for this, because Amanda has done wonderful things behind the scenes, as you know, Freya mentioned. It's been incredible to watch just how much that she's put words into action. You know, she said what she was wanted from the ladies' team, and she's put it into action. She's given all these facilities to the girls that they didn't have when they were. I'm not saying that when they were with the foundation it was a bad thing, because it wasn't, but obviously being under the umbrella of the whole club now is completely different, because it gives up the girls what they haven't had. You know, you're talking about dietitians and trainers and physicians and stuff like that. It's a completely different environment for them. But
Absolutely.
as we said earlier in the show, the higher they go up the pyramid, they're already going to be used to having the kind of Super League facilities around them, you know, and Super League staff, you know, that they've already got it, kind of thing. So that can only benefit them as well. But I think
absolutely,
we do need to start, you know, and like I said, I'm going to start taking to the little man, and obviously
we're making
Lily as
family
well.
day out.
Well, that's what it is.
We'll all
that's
go.
what it is, and it's a very different environment to the man's game. You know, they're very different, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, and the fact that you can get these, and Alex, I was sort of pleased when he asked the question about, you know, and Danielle, you know, about talking about going out to see kids and actually spending time with them after the game and giving them advice on you know, whether they'd want to. And you know, when you see little girls going to football matches now, watching the ladies team, they want to play, you know, because if they're anything like the little lads going to watch who want to be footballers in the future, why can't the girls as well?
They can,
you know, and hopefully it can start off a ball rolling where the ladies team get a lot more attention, because it really is good now that they're on social media and they're getting more well, they're getting everything, aren't they? They're all there. They're getting photos, they're getting training photos, they're getting match day photos, match reports, things that we never had. And the club have to take a lot of praise for that as well.
And I think for me, with Amanda and everything that she's done with the women's team, is she's backed up her words, which is really important, because it's so easy to come in on the crest of a wave after a takeover and say we're going to do this, that, and this and that, and then, you know, not many things come to fruition in that kind of situation. But with Amanda and Jamie and everybody involved, they've really kind of walked the walk.
And what I do
really
hope is, Danielle, when they play at St James's Park later on in the year, that the club do put a special sort of offer on the tickets and really, really make sure that ground is buzzing again. Because we can get more than 20,000 for the ladies'
but I think
game.
the traction on the women's team's picked up massively since the last game.
Yeah.
So I think you know, I think it'll be massive. I think hopefully we'll smash records, because those girls deserve it.
They do. And Tom says there, women's team at home to Durham Cestria on October the 9th, the day after Brentford.
I'm still there, so I might be able to do that.
Yep. Well, I'll be going as well. So I think everybody has to make an effort at the end of the day. And I think, but for me, when you go and watch them, it's not an effort, because it's great football. It really is. It's competitive. You know, we're talking about Katie Barker there. You know, she epitomizes the word.
Georgia as well.
Competitive, and Georgia, and all of them actually. They've just got this. Freya herself, you know, they've got this installed in them now that they hate losing, and they will do everything they can, you know, to avoid a defeat. And that's exactly the right attitude to have. And even when the draw game, they're coming off thinking, right, we could have done better. So it's great. And to know that Becky's very similar to Eddie Howe in that sense, that, you know, she can really give a bollocking when she needs to, is to have a manager like that is just what the players need. So it's all good. Just to let you know, the show's coming up this week, guys. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. There it is. We have the preview of Fulham against Newcastle United. obviously the four of us will be back for that, and we'll be trying to work out what the team might be, any injuries, formations, and of course, God forbid, score predictions. Which,
did you see Matt Ritchie's injured as well?
Yeah.
Yes, I mentioned that in my video earlier today. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It really is. Friday night, of course, we have this TTR Friday. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, Billy's beef and shamed by Stato again. And will Danielle have a rant, or will she be in agony aunt? You'll have to wait until Friday night for that one.
Rant
and then
join
me at 2:30 on Saturday for the Fulham Newcastle watch along full commentary. We start the show at 2:30, and then half an hour build up to the match, going through team news, etc. And then from 3 o'clock, full commentary of the game. And 6:30 on Saturday night, just an hour or so after the game finishes, we have the match review. So the four of us will be back again for that. We'll be going over what went right, what went wrong. Could we have changed anything? What did we think of the team lineup, substitutions? And of course, Danielle's favorite, the player ratings. So plenty to watch on the channel. If you have enjoyed tonight's show, guys, please do hit that like button. Like I say, it does help us move up those search results and flashing lights of what a great channel the Toon Review is. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we indeed release a video like I did earlier on today. So there's plenty coming up on the channel. Alex, Danielle, thank you very much for joining me tonight. A massive thank you to Freya Bailes, of course, for joining us and promoting the ladies team. We hope to get a lot more of that going on the channel now as well. And thank you to everyone that super chatted tonight. Again, your kindness just blows me away every show. It really does. Thank you to all the questions and for watching. And the Mod Squad backstage, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, guys. But for now, good night.
How are the lasses?